Since I was born, the acoustic music notes from my dad's guitar always danced about my house. My dad has always aspired to be a professional guitar player, just like Carlos Santana or Jimi Hendrix. Although he never made it that far, every Sunday morning he plays with the band from church. The band is made up of other musicians who go to my church, King of Kings Worship Center. Instruments have always intrigued me from a young age. The way you can strum a string or bang a hollow body with a stick and make beautiful sound with it is something I've always been fascinated by. The first instrument I played was the drums. I took private lessons for a few years, and this was no surprise to my parents, considering I always banged on pots and pans as a child. Every Sunday, my dad would wake up at 6 o'clock, even though the service didn't start until 10, to get to church to help what they call a breakdown team set up everything. One day, I was about 10, my dad asked me, "Do you want to go to church with me early tomorrow to help set up and learn the soundboard?" I had never before seen how the production happens. I was about to be behind the scenes of something I've always enjoyed watching from a spectator's view, and couldn't have been more excited, so I responded excitedly by saying, "Yes, I'd love to." The band consisted of my dad on guitar and then a piano, bass, drums, acoustic guitar, and two singers. I first helped them unload the truck that held speakers and all the other equipment in it. My little body tried to keep up to the best of its abilities with all the other grown men. We set the instruments up on stage, the drum towards the back, my dad and bass to one side, and the piano and acoustic guitar to the other. My dad showed me the ins and outs of what wires go where and what each does. He broke down for me what each effect pedal does and how the sound changes when you step on it. He had 3 different pedals, each a different bright color. As he played, he would step down on a pedal, and instantly a deeper tone would turn into a higher, more electric sound. This really intrigued me. I really loved learning how the sound I usually hear from the audience is put together. Once everything was set up, it was time for them to have a rehearsal and sound check. This is what I was most excited for. I learned how important it is that everything is working properly during the rehearsal so that everything runs smoothly during the actual performance. This is when I met Dan the Sound Man. He was their sound technician and was the guy who made sure everything runs smoothly. He worked the mix board, regulating the volume level and sound quality. Dan showed me how sliding a key down on this board covered in buttons and switches can give a completely different tone, sound, and volume level to an instrument. He taught me to listen and hear for all the instruments, and this is when I first got a feel for how they blend together. I realized that the bass was very faded in the background and wasn't loud enough compared to the other instruments. Using the soundboard, I was able to fix this. With a twist of a button, I turned his sound up so that he could be heard. It was fun playing around with my dad's sound along with the other instruments. This was the day I realized what I want to do with my life. I realized that music being performed live is an experience unlike any other. I remember watching each person working off of each other, resulting in beautiful music. The liveliness of putting the entire production together and then watching it all fall into place at the end is a self-satisfaction that could not be reached with anything else. This experience at church has inspired me to be a tour or artist manager. Working with musicians and helping them make their ideas come to life would be a dream for me, and I know someday this dream will become a reality.